Alright, today we are working on the Lance Cabo 50cc. I'm going to be installing a big bore kit, upgrading to 80cc from 50 from 49 to 80. There it is, just got it today. So we got to tear down here. I got another video on how to take the side skirts off when I did tank cleaning. So when I did all this, you can see how all this is removed. And today we're gonna be taking, first of all, the exhaust. I already got it off here, but you have the hose here for the EGR valve. So that's out, and there's a bolt right here, another one right here. I believe they're like a 13 mil, and then you got two 10 mils right under here. Let's see right there where you connect your, see it up there. Take those two out, take the exhaust out, and then you can get, you're gonna do then this cover here, which is fastened by a couple of screws right here, and underneath they're easy to find. Take those out and take this from here, because we're gonna take your valves out with this. Take your manifold out. The intake manifold comes out. You gotta remove it from the carb here. Two 10s here. Take that out. Take your vacuum hose from your gas, and then you will take this out, and eventually take these bolts out, and two more on the side here. We'll get to it in a little bit. Definitely make sure that everything fits before you go. Make sure you have the right parts before you go buying stuff like I did. I have here a whole mess of parts that I order. Exhaust, a whole different big bore kit, rollers, derriere, you name it, I bought it, and none of it fit. So make sure that now I gotta return it. Make sure you got the right stuff before you start working on it. Everything fits. You got the right parts. Just look at your engine numbers and stuff. You would take the fan cover off to get it on top that center. You got what are we using here? 8 mil right here, 8 mil right up here, and then one here and one here. Remove those two, and then you're gonna look for, you're gonna spin your fan until you get to the T mark, and you'll see that right there. There's two lines, one says F and the other one has a T for time, I believe. You line those two up with that little notch right there. So line your T line right there with that, and it should be at the top dead center. Make sure you check before you start tearing things apart. And there you have it. Continuing on, we're gonna remove 2 bolts for intake manifold, 2 nuts, 10 mil. Those aside. I'll just put it right back up there once I remove it, so I know I'm not gonna lose it. Then we'll take a screwdriver, loosen this up. The carb. Flip the carb upwards. We'll take the suction vacuum hose up here. Wiggle this out, and then you get your carb out of the way. Put this to the side. And I'll pull out this return here. Get it out of the way. I was talking about to get that case off. There's one, two, and then there's the other underneath there. You can find them on the side. Here we're gonna take the EGR cover off, or the cam gear cover off. 10 mil there. Crank that loose. Other one is down here. I'm doing this with one hand and filming with the other hand, so it's a little bit difficult to get everything done. Let's see if we can get a better angle here. Right there. They're vertical from each other. One's at the bottom, one's at the top. I'm having interest this time here. I'm figuring out how I'm gonna lose that cam with the limited space I have to get a socket in there, and at the same time hold the radiator fan in order to keep it from spinning and going off time. So we'll see how we manage that. I was gonna hit it with the impact wrench, but I have no clearance here to do that unless I take this off here, but I still don't think that's gonna do anything for me, so we'll see what we can do about that one here in a little bit. So next I'm going to crack my tensioner bolt off, loosen that first, and then I'll remove it from here. Whether I'll do it now, whatever you want to do this first, so you don't have issues removing that under tension once you remove it from here. So you crack this one open, get it loose, and then you can take the whole thing off. Then you have these 4 bolts here, and the only thing that's going to be holding you afterwards, so you have one there behind the lid that we just loosened, and one directly underneath, and then these 4. And then once you take the cam off, you'll be able to take this whole the valve cover completely out. As you can see, these are different. There's your exhaust is up here, intake up here, right here, exhaust right here. I'm not gonna take these off. I don't think it's necessary. Just more parts to take off, and there's gonna be oil spilling down the bottom, so make sure I have a rag down here, just to make sure things don't get messy. All right. So here I have a tool that I got online to be able to lock this up. There's 2 little notches right there. You can adjust this here. There's an adjust knob, so you can widen it, and you can use this here on the bell as well if you need to. If you don't have an impact wrench, which is what I use, hit it with the impact, and you don't need that. But with this here, and if you don't have an impact, you can just put it on the bell, and it allows you to keep it in place while you crank that loose. One thing that I like to do as well to check my timing, which I already did, but I didn't show that. I take my spark plug out. Just turn it around here. And of course, we gotta make it interesting by flipping loose screws and stuff around here. Where did I go? Alright, we'll get to that in a minute. So let's take this here, and there's your spark plug hole right there, right here. Stick that in there, make sure, and then you can spin this guy here, and when you feel that screwdriver come all the way to the top, and as you spin it, it goes back down, you can check your time into your top dead center when you get to the top, hence the top dead center. Alright, here we're gonna get ready to crank that bolt loose, the one for the tensioner. I can get everything in here one-handed. It's quite fun without having a stand. There we go. Cut that guy loose. We'll come back with the 8 mil, and take the other 2 bolts off right here, this one and this one. So we'll just right now while we're there. Strip this, guys. Hold on. One side there you go. And go here. Do the same thing. Now we're ready to get them out. Again, don't forget you want to hit this tube first, the tension on the top first before you get this tube loose or out, so you don't have issues removing that. Pop it out. I'll set this guy aside, and then later on when we're done with everything, we use this little guy here. You flip that from here out, and then you can press this guy down so you can set it in there. The spring is inside here, so be careful when you take this bolt out. The spring doesn't get lost on you. This is a little different setup than what I've seen. Some of the other ones on the, I guess, the common 139 QMB. Again, this is a 137 QMA, which is why all my parts didn't fit that I previously bought. When you take this out, there's a way to get the spring set, the tensioner down here set back down. You have to get a flathead screwdriver and turn it and hold it while you get everything set up, and then to get it ready to get it loose. Not the case with this. You can, we'll see that later, but you can push this guy back in, set it in there, lift the spring out, and then once you got this and this tool back on their corresponding holes, then you can put this bolt in with the spring, and it'll push it down, make the pressure that it needs. So a little different. So here's the tool hole that I was talking about after I took the cover off from the cam gear. One here, they're the same length, so you don't have to worry about mixing them like I did there, but I'm talking about mixing them up. So let's find that guy. We'll get to it at some point here. Oh, there we go. Found it. So you take those two out, put them to the side, and these four are gonna come out. And once we have this four out, then we're gonna be dealing with that guy right there. We'll see how we attack it, whether we're gonna be able to remove this side in here. And with this taken out, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get the impact, but that's what I really like to use. But if we can't, we have our setup here. I'll use my foot maybe to make sure that it's not gonna go anywhere and get me off time. Or at least, I think I'll be alright. Even if it's pins and gets off time, I'll get it back on time before I get that gear off. I'm also gonna mark my chain. You can't really see here, but I'm gonna make a mark with a marker here. Here, let's get a light here so we can see this. So what I'll do is, I think I'm gonna take a marker and make sure that I make a reference point to where I was on that chain and that cam gear before I take it off, because this here has to match up. And again, I'm sorry that I can't really get you a better look. Let's see from here, but you can see there's like a little, and I want to say there's like a flat spot in there, and that's got to go back the same way. So if I mark it, when I put that gear back in, I'll just match it up. Alright, I don't know if this is gonna be the way to do it, but I'm actually gonna take this floorboard, I'm gonna remove it completely. There's looks like one here, one bolt here. There's another one, a screw down here somewhere. This one here, a couple more there. I think it'll be the safest bet for me to get to that crank and be able to use I don't know, I'll give it a shot here first. Let's see, I'm gonna go with the ratchet first and see how tight that is. Alright, I'm gonna give this a shot. 12mm socket on the ratchet, and I'm holding my tool with my right hand on the other side here. We'll see if we can make this work. Well, it didn't take much. It actually worked. So I broke it loose. I'm going to remove that nut now. It didn't take a lot of power a lot of strength to get it off of there, which I'm glad. Because now I'll get everything lined up again. Here's the bolt. Put that aside, make sure I don't lose that. And let's get it back on time. Make sure our timing is where it needs to be. As you can see, I'm very safe with gas inside my house here. And alright, let's double check our time here before we start taking things apart. And we're a little low, and we should be right back on there now. Alright, let's keep it going. Alright, so I ended up taking the panel from here, just this one side, so I can make room to get there and see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna use some bungees. I went to the mirror up there, hook that up there. That should give me enough clearance to get that out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mark the chain right up against that gear. Check my timing. I'm not dead center still, so I'm gonna get that done now. So I made 3 markings there with the marker. You can see one up on top of that highest hole, and then one at the bottom, one in the middle, just so I know where my links are. I marked the link on the chain and the crank itself, and you can see right there in the middle there's a line on the right hand side that goes horizontal. I believe there's another one on the front that you can't just quite see from here, but that has to line up with that little notch right here on the in fact, let me just check that it doesn't have to line up with this one on the front here. If there's something in the back that will give me a guideline here, and we're gonna turn that and see if it lines up with the front there. Is that it? Yeah, it looks like that's our guide. It's supposed to be those two there. Alright, well, I think we'll use that instead. So the marking and that little notch, and then we're top dead center on the other side with the fan. So I'm thinking that's how they want this to be done, is with that mark. So I don't have a marking in the front. However, I did see a video where the guy ended up with this marking on the back, or rather he lined it up with it, but from the back side, and then that little notch, that little V right there in the back side of it, ended up in the front. So I'm gonna just double check that I'm good to go here before I take that cam gear off. So I use a flathead screwdriver to get that gear off of there, disengage the chain, and then I slide the whole top end with the valve here, the camshaft. All this comes out the top. Be careful because there's some shims. I'll show where those are right now in a minute. You get this guy out here and just set them to the side. I'm probably gonna end up cleaning the valve gaskets there. I'm sorry, not the valve gaskets, the valves themselves. They're pretty dirty, so I'll probably just take a wire brush, just get some light on them, take a wire brush there and just clean it up a little bit before I put it all back together. Make sure I have all that dried up before I put the seals on and all that. As you can see, that's made by Sim. which I did not know this bike was not a Chinese bike, and that's why I had all the issues getting oh great. I have something here. I don't know where this came from, but hopefully we'll find out later. It's probably from one of the bolts. I'm gonna guess that's from there. Yep, maybe not. Great. We got a washer that we don't know where it came from. We'll find out. Now we're getting ready to make sure that chain doesn't fall back in there. We're gonna get this cylinder out of here. Of course that's gonna happen. Got a little bit of oil here. Get those wires out the way and work this guy out of here. There we go. Nice and slow. And out we go. And don't forget those dowels were one here and one there. We gotta find them. They failed on me. And there it is. Look at the ittle bitty piston. Now we gotta get the ring on the side, one on this side, one on this side. I think they call it G clips. You take that out with tweezers, and there. Alright. Looks like the gasket might be a little different. I'm not seeing this little notch on the top of this one here, but looks like we're upside down, but still that's the bottom. Okay, good. I got all my gasket material cleaned out of there. Getting ready to take that piston off of there and switch it with the new piston. Yep, I mean at this point, this is not that bad. You just gotta take your time, make sure you're getting everything out of there. That washer that I was looking for is actually go on the cam there, so I'll put that back on the screw because I'm pretty sure that goes there. So let me go to work here with this piston and see if I can get that out of there, so I can get set up with my rings and all that. And now, of course,